Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome back to the background campaign for Hero Realms. We wrapped the spring campaign in Arkham Horror, the card game, last week, so now we're looking into other content. Fortunately, I have a backup schedule ready. This week we're going to start it by stepping back into the background campaign for Hero Realms. Last scenario we played, we couldn't get out of our own way in terms of the allies we recruited, until they finally stuck to the board late and we took the boss out in one final, ferocious attack. Anyway, now we're on to the third scenario of the campaign, the Ritual. We haven't lost any scenarios yet, so we're not in any danger of the house rule taking effect. To recall, if I lose one scenario twice, or 4 total, this campaign is going to be over to handle the problems of having to repeatedly replay scenarios. But anyway, let's go ahead and start by setting the scene. Chapter 7. Encounter 3, The Ritual. Story. You make your way to the cobbler's shop and find the entrance to the caverns. You move quickly with your lantern unlit and rely on your night vision to guide you. Hiding in the shadows, you come across a vast ceremonial space. A priestess stands on a dais chanting, along with dozens of her followers. Behind the priestess is a large brazier. I never can pronounce that name. Behind the priestess, a large brazier burns, and above it you see a huge formless shadow. With each beat of the chant, the shadow seems to grow and twist. You realize the priestess is mere moments away from summoning the demon. You draw your weapons, but then the priest turns toward your hiding place. "Welcome," she booms, her voice magically amplified. "Enter and bear witness to the end of Thandar." We've done setup here. Let's see. Okay, that'll be a face-down pile for the ritual. All 4 are favored. We'll see that when we move up to look at the card. Each of our powers adds cards to the ritual from one of the 4 factions. If multiple cards of the chosen faction are tied for the highest cost, each go in. And it is a 2-part encounter, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But anyway, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself there. So that's the scene set. Now let's move over and revisit the wizard. Okay, so the wizard over here has 50 health, which I'm tracking with D percentile dice. The special abilities that the wizard has: Fire Blast, where I can sacrifice this to deal 4 damage to target master or minion. A Fireball lets me deal 4 damage to target player. Wait a minute, I don't think I should have that yet, so pretend Fireball doesn't exist. And Channel, which I can expend it and spend 2 gold to lose 1 health and draw a card, which I may end up needing to do. But anyway, now we'll take a look at the wizard's opening hand. We see we have a gold, another gold, and the next action I acquire this turn costs 1 less. An arcane wand, wizard item, magic weapon, wand. I draw a card. For the rest of the turn, whenever I play an action, I gain 1. Another gold, and a fire staff with 1 combat, where if I have 2 or more actions in play, I get to draw a card, but I will have exactly 0 actions in play. So anyway, we'll move the camera up here just a little bit, and we'll take a look at our starting market. So first up close to the deck, we find Rake, Master Assassin for 7 gold. If I expend 4 combat and I'm a stun target champion, a 7 shield champion, but not a guard. Next up, find a bribe for 3 gold. This is an action, so wizard components would let this cost 1 less. 3 gold, and then an action, and then an ally ability for the guild faction. For the next put the next action you acquire this turn on top of your deck. Next up, Intimidation for 2 gold, another action. Gain 5 combat, and as an ally ability for the guild faction, you gain 2 gold as well. Then we have Varric the Necromancer for 5. As an action, if I expend it, I take a champion from my discard pile and put it on top of my deck. And then for another Necros card, I draw a card. And Krythos, Master Vampire, 7 gold, When I expend him, I get 3 combat, and I may sacrifice a hand in my hand card in my hand or discard pile. If I do, I gain an additional 3. Anyway, that's our starting markets. Let's jump up and meet our Archpriestess. Alright, so this is the boss that we're playing against today. So we are taking on the Roanos Archpriestess. 30 health, 20 plus 10. Once again, I'm using D percentile dice to track that. And it might be a little bit hard to see, but you can see with the 4 spikes around every card that all of the abilities are favored. So when a white icon comes up, we do each of those. But anyway, so on a blue card, we add the highest guild card or cards to the ritual. Green, we add the wild, red the necros, and yellow the imperial. Now, the bigger problem that we have right now is the starting minion, the Vexing Imp. So as you remember, we defeated the Roanos Zealot when we last played this scenario. So we returned him to the box because of that. But anyway, the Vexing Imp is actually very annoying. So we'd normally end up with the minion in our play area, but instead we're going to end up with the minion in the Master's area because it's elite. What that means, though, is we can ignore it, but I don't think we want to. So there is text to note on here. When you play 2 Necros cards in one turn, stun the minion. But when he expends, we have to discard a random card, so that's going to be a big problem. But anyway, 7 health to defeat that, but again, because it's not a guard, we can ignore that. So I think we're all set there. Actually, I don't know if we're supposed to... I'm going to have to look up that fireball, because I don't feel like I'm supposed to have that. No. Okay. I did trust my instincts on that one, so never mind. I was looking at one of the other cards here. But anyway, I think that's everything all set. So let's move back up top, and we'll start with my turn. I need to deal with that imp as fast as I can, but I'm not sure how I'm dealing with it yet. If I'm dealing with it through damage, or if I'm going to try to play 2 Necros cards and stun it. Looking at the market, though, there's probably a pretty good chance I can get to a decent amount of combat in a hurry. But anyway, we'll play out our gold first. So we've got 2. Spell components give me a third, and my next action costs 1 less to acquire. I do get a combat, and I get to draw a card. So for the rest of the turn, every time I play an action, I get a combat. So card I draw from this is another gold. So I've got 4 gold to buy with. I'll hit the boss for 1, bringing her down to 29. And then I've got 4 to buy with, keeping in mind that the first action I buy costs 1 less to acquire. So I will grab the Intimidation for 1, which means I have 3 left. Replacing it immediately is a Word of Power from the Imperial faction. It is an action for 6. I get to draw 2 cards. The ally ability with the Imperial gives me 5 health, and if I trash it, I get 5 combat. But anyway, for my other 3 gold, I'll get the bribe. Unfortunately, I'm leaving some expensive stuff out there to go into the ritual, but anyway, we draw. Or we replace it with a Death Cultist for 2 trade. I can expend it for 2 combat, and it's got a guard of 3, so that means they'd have to attack that first. But anyway, that will do it for my turn. I will move everything over to the discard pile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we find that we've got some attack and a bit of gold as well, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself there. So now we'll move up, and we'll see. It's a very weird angle, but I think that gives us the general idea. So we'll see what the Archpriestess is doing. The Archpriestess flips over. I just had the... here it is. Okay, so we'll reveal this, and we find a red card, and this is a minion. Oh, joy. Yikes! This is the first thing to come up. So we reveal that. Then we see a red symbol, which means we add the most expensive red card to the ritual face down. I'll put that over here. And then we replace that. With a rampage for 6 combat, or for 6 gold. This gives me 6 combat, and I may drop to 2 cards, then discard that many cards. Oh joy. And then we do the effect of the card. So, Stone Golem goes into my area, which means I have to deal with this first. That's going to be a big time problem. Expends for 5 combat. It's got a toughness of 9. And it's tough, which means I can't stun it except by damage. So that'll expend for 5 combat, and I have to discard a random card. That's going to be no fun. Alright, and then we'll take that card, and we lose. The Silver Skull Amulet. That hurts. And then once again, we take 5 from the Stone Golem, so I drop down to 45. Then everything prepares again, and we'll move back into my turn. That 9 health on that Stone Golem is going to act like a wall. So I'm not going to get near the Priestess until I can defeat that. So I think the better plan right now, we'll play the Ignite for 2. For 2 combat. Take a quick look at the flavor text. Every Inferno starts with a spark. Then we're going to play out 2 gold along with the Cat Familiar, which I'll expend for a 3rd. Actually, 3 doesn't really do much for me right now. So I'll just expend that for a health, I guess. And then I'll use that. I'll use the 2 gold to grab a Death Cultist, which I'll go through the flavor text when I play that. Then I'll replace that with a Wolf Shaman, which is another champion. I can expend this for 2 combat, plus 1 for every other wild card I have in play. So I'll prepare the Cat Familiar. We'll draw an Ignite. Then I'll shuffle this all up. Two, three, 4. We'll take a look at what I've got for next turn. One of these I won't have, obviously. But okay. Well, yeah, this is going to be unfortunate, but anyway. We'll move up to the Archpriestess next. Just a little bit. I'm going to move these. Okay. Alright, so the top card we find is another red card. Oh, fantastic. So that means Varric moves to the ritual as well. And then we flip up. Recruit. Imperial card, 2 gold. 2 gold and 3 health. Plus 1 for each champion you have in play. And an ally ability with the Imperial gives you 1 health. Right, so okay, so the Roanos Chanter. Elite, this goes into the Master's play area. When he prepares, if the Roanos Archpriestess is the Master, add the top card of the market deck to the ritual. Otherwise, gain, what is that? 4 combat. And a toughness of 6. Give me a break. I cannot get out of my own way today. Then everything expends, so I'll be getting hit for at least 3. Add the top card of the market deck to the ritual, so we add... I'm just going to add it face down. I don't know if it tells me to reveal it or not, but it might come into play... Well, I'll just wait. And then I expend the Imp as well to add it to discard a random card from my hand. Fantastic. And then we'll take the top card, which means we lose. The Fire Staff. This would give me 1 combat, and if I have 2 or more actions in play, I would draw a card. That's probably not doing much for me anyway this turn. So, with that, the Cat Familiar gets taken out, and I take 3 to go down to 43. Yeah, I need to get past that wall and fast. Fortunately, though, I see something, well, something that's probably not going to survive too long, but I'm getting ahead of myself there. But anyway, everything will re-prepare, and I'll move back into the start of round 3. Okay, so we'll start off with another Ignite for 2 combat. Draw a card from the Arcane Wand. If this gives me at least 3 combat, which I'm not betting on. I could use the Fire Blast to take out the Stone Golem, and I might have to. But anyway, we will draw. Another Ignite, so that's another 2 combat. Actually, the Arcane Wand, for the rest of the turn, whenever you play an action, gain 1 combat. So I might actually be able to take out that Stone Golem. And then I get 3 more gold. So, I have 3. I think if I I'll expend the Fire Blast to deal 4 damage to that. Then Ignite, and then I'll use both my Ignites and 1 of the combat to take out the Stone Golem. And then I'll deal 1 to the boss, because I can ignore both of those minions. And then for 3 gold, I think we'll grab the Wolf Shaman, now that we're no longer dealing with having that thing as a wall, and then replacing it, hopefully for 1 trade, or for 1 gold. It's not for 1 gold. Darien War Mage, Imperial, 4 gold to acquire. I can expend it for either 3 combat or 4 health. My health right now isn't in terrible, terrible shape, but yeah, I'm still having my hand attacked, but I can probably deal with that. 3, 4, 5, as we find gold, but actions are going to be cheap this turn. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself there. So I'll move up to the Archpriestess and see what she's doing for round 3. So she is... There we go. So first we reveal the top card. So we find... This is... Without metagaming a little bit, I'm going to metagame a little bit, but there's a decent chance that this is a mastery. And sure enough, okay, it's a mastery. So remember how... Oh no. Actually, we only got the blue card up there. So we attach that to the master. Then we add Rake to the ritual because it's the blue ability. So replacing that will be Elven Gift for 2 combat. 2 gold. It's 2 gold to acquire, and you get 2 gold when you play it. You may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Ally ability gives you 4 combat. Then we expend both of the minions. We'll deal with the top card of the market deck to the ritual first. Then I'll discard one of my random cards. Looks like it's mostly just going to be gold, so... Unfortunately, that is going to kind of put paid to one of my plans to acquire one of these big bombs. But let's see what we lose here. We lose just a plain gold. I can deal with that. Fortunately, we don't take any damage, though. But having the hand disrupted is bad enough. Anyway, we'll prepare the minions. And then we'll move back into round 4 for the wizard. So getting rid of the stone golem means we can actually attack now. So of course, we have no cards, we have no combat. The flavor text on spell components. What do you need that for? So we have 4 gold, and our first action costs 1 less. I think we grab the Elven Gift for one, for one, so we have three gold left. We replace that with Rally the Troops for 4 gold, which is an action. 5 gold, or 5 combat and 5 health. Ally ability with the Imperial, prepare a champion. I will grab the Recruit for 2. And then we'll replace that with Torgan Rock Splitter for 7 gold. Expend it for 4 combat and target opponent discards a card. And it's a guard of 7. So we'll move that all to the discard pile. 1, 2, 3. For 5. Okay, hopefully this has the potential to be a very good turn, but I'm getting way ahead of myself here. Anyway, let's move up to the Roanos Archpriestess and see what she's doing. So we'll zoom in there. We'll go there. Just adjusting the zoom a little bit. So we flip over first. Oh, for crying out loud, we've got another Roanos channel, this time in blue. So we would add the highest cost blue card to the market in the market to the ritual, except there are no blue cards here. So we've got another one of those that's moving 2 cards to the that's moving 2 cards to the ritual, and we have to discard a random card. So we'll move those over. And then we have to discard a random card. We'll take that one. And we are losing. Of course we're losing the Intimidation. Because I need to start getting combat together, but yeah, so of course that's what I'm going to lose. Fantastic. Right, so that will do it for the Roanos Archpriestess. Now we're into round 4. Actually, we're into round 5 now. Well, I'm definitely going to need to race. I do get to play a Death Cultist, which will give me 2 combat when I expend it, and it's a guard of 3. They live for death. It's a Necros card, of course. Along with my Cat Familiar, which I don't think we ever looked at. I can expend it for 1 combat, 1 gold, or 1 life, guard of 2. Meow! Fortunately, the Death Cultist will protect the Cat Familiar. 3 gold, and if I would have still had the Intimidation in my hand, I would have been able to put the next action I acquired on top of my deck, and 2 more combat. So I will expend the Death Cultist to bring me up to 4... And I'm actually going to expend the Cat Familiar for a gold. So I'm going to hit the Archpriestess for 4 combat. And then for 4, I'm going to grab Darien War Mage, because I need to get all the combat I can find right now. And replacing that will be Smash and Grab for 6 gold. 6 combat when I play it, and I may put a card from my discard pile on top of my deck. So I'll move those over, prepare my champions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I see we're going to have... We have not been able to get that Fire Staff into effect once, but anyway, I'm getting a little ahead of myself there. Now I'll move up to the Archpriestess, and we'll see what she's doing. She's got champions for days, that's for sure. But we find a Fire Pentagram for Hazard. It's a yellow card, so we have to add the most expensive yellow card, which is by Word of Power. And then replacing that in the market will be the Rot for 3 combat, or for 3 gold. You get 4 combat, you may sacrifice a card in your hand or discard pile, And on an ally ability, you get 3 more combat. That is an action, so I may be tempted to grab that. But that should go into play in my area, I believe. So, anyway, now we'll take a look at the card. When the Master flips a Necros card, this deals 5 damage to you and to each of your champions, then clear this hazard. When you play a card that costs 5 gold, clear this hazard. I don't think I have anything in my hand right now that costs 5. No, I don't, because I can't get any kind of a rhythm going thanks to that Vexing Imp. So we'll expend everything. Top 2 into the market deck, and then I have to discard a random card. Which, I'm actually going to grab a D6 from this set. Should be... There we go. Yep, I can get it open. Okay. So, there we go. We'll line everything up over here. Bring it in shot just a little bit. That should be okay. It's just... I'll bring it in a little further. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is a reroll. Card 2. Which loses me the Fire Staff, but that wasn't doing anything for me anyway, most likely. So, everything will then prepare. And then we'll move back up top for the start of round 6. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to play anything that costs 5 to clear the fire hazard. We've got the Silver Skull Amulet, 2 more gold, and an Ignite, which I'll hit the boss... I'm going to sit on that, because I'm going to use 2 of those gold to channel. I need to get deeper into the deck. Actually, I need to be racing through this. And that random discard is really hurting from the Imp. So we find... just another gold. Fantastic. Well... I'll expend the Death Cultist for 2 combat, and the Cat Familiar for... I'll expend that for a combat, which I'll hit the boss for 5, bringing her down to 19. And then for 3 gold, I'll grab the Rot. And then we'll replace that with... Life Drain for 6. 8 combat, I may sacrifice a card in my hand or discard pile, and on a Necros ability, an ally ability, I draw a card. So all that moves to my discard pile. I prepared my champions already. And we see that we're going to have potential to do... Mending ourselves up is not going to be the worst plan in the world, but anyway. Actually, right now I think it just needs to be a flat-out race. But anyway, let's move up and see what the Archpriestess is going to do to try to slow us down. Turns out the most they've been doing to slow us down has been pretty good, unfortunately. But I'm getting ahead of myself there, so we find... another Mastery with a yellow card. So we had the highest cost Imperial card to the ritual, which is Rally the Troops. And then we find... replace it with a Taxation for 1 gold. Gain 2 when I play it, and on an ally ability, I gain 6 health. But, anyway, we expend everything up here, discarding 2 cards to the ritual. And then once again, I have to discard at random. As usual, let me bring that... I have to zoom that out just a touch. There we go. So same thing as before. 1 through 5, 6 is a reroll. Card 4. Which loses me the Wolf Shaman. Of course it does. Right. Yeah, this isn't going well. I need to race, and I'm running out of time to do it. But anyway, I should have unexpended... I should have prepared the channel as well. But anyway, now let's move into round 6. And I'm definitely racing the clock here. So yeah. I'll start off with an Arcane Wand, so I draw a card. For the rest of the turn, whenever I play an action, I gain 1 combat, and this will let me draw spell components. So the 1 gold in the next action I acquire this turn costs 1 less, which I'll play that. 2, 3, and I gain 3 health plus 1 for each champion I have in play, so I gain a total of 5 and go to 47. And then 2 more gold, which I'll expend the Death Cultist for 2 combat, and the Cat Familiar, let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Life Drain would cost me 6, but I could get it. I think we expend for a gold. That'll bring me up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I get the taxation. Actually, I can get the life drain for 5. And then we'll replace that with Kristoff the Just for 5. Expend for 2 combat and 3 health. Ally ability, draw a card. Then I'll get the taxation for 1. And I'll replace that with Command for 5 gold. 2 gold, I get 2 gold, 3 health, or 3 combat and 4 health when I play it, and I draw a card. And then we hit the boss for 2, bringing her down to 17. And all that moves to the discard pile. Okay. Come on. So basically, I need to take the boss out before... she finds her 3rd mastery. Which, the way my day is going, is not likely. But we'll find out. One, 2, 3, 4. Anyway, my champions prepare, and we will move up to the Archpriestess and see what happens. So we have 2 mastery cards out. Basically, like I said, we're racing her for 17 damage to her 3rd mastery. So let's see what happens here. Well, that didn't take long to lose that race, so the topmost green card goes to the ritual. We'll replace that. Okay, so we actually flip her over as well. The ritual is complete. Go to Chapter 9 of the adventure book. So we haven't done anything else for the turn yet. Chapter 9 of the adventure book. The Roanos ritual is complete. You're too late, the priestess screams. With a triumphant wail, she plunges her dagger into her own chest, completing the ritual. Uh-oh. As she crumbles to the floor, she utters in a hoarse whisper that eerily echoes around the chamber. The demon has come. The demon has come, and Thandar will die. Add each card in the market to the ritual, then replace those cards. When the player's turn ends, go to Chapter 11. There's text on there about the player would continue their turn, except this is during the boss's turn. So once I replace these cards, I'm going to go straight to Chapter 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, first up we're going to find a street thug for 3 gold. You expend him to gain 1 gold or 2 combat. Then, Master at Arms for 3 combat, another champion. Expend for 2 combat plus 1, 1 for each other guard I have in play. A Spark for 1, 3 combat, target opponent discards a card, and Wild Ally ability gives 2 combat. I'll explain how discard works when I actually have it happen. Then we have a profit for 1. You get 2 gold when you play it, and guild ally ability for combat. And Elven Curse for 3. 6 combat, target opponent discards a card, ally ability gives you 3. But anyway, we'll move to Chapter 11 now. Oh, we got a lot of text here. Actually, I think the way we're supposed to do that is when the player's turn ends. Except the player's turn was over, so we're in the master's turn. I think we move. Okay, so yeah, I think we just move. I think we move forward. No, this wouldn't make sense given what I'm reading. Players. Okay, I gotta pause this. I'll be right back. Okay, so the text on the chapter was slightly unclear. So the way I'm going to rule it is we're during the master turn. Yeah, so the mastery. I think the way we're going to rule this is we're going to start off with the before the master phase, resolve the ritual as follows. So I think we're just going to basically take the master phase and resolve the ritual. So the shadow shape coalesces and a massive roar fills the chamber as the demon enters this dimension. Before the master phase, resolve the ritual as follows. Take the stack of ritual cards and separate them into 4 piles, 1 for each faction or color. If there are any factionless cards, set them aside. So we'll start off here. I'll move my hand out of the way for the time being. So we'll start there. Oh, geez. Okay, yellow, green, blue, yellow. Oh, for the love of criminy. There's some expensive stuff in green. But let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in blue. 1, 2, 3, 4 in yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in green. And 4 in blue. So there is a tie for most. Come on. If there's a tie for the most, add cards from the top of the market deck to the pile of the appropriate color, one at a time until any of the piles has more cards than the other 3. That color will determine which demon was summoned. See below. So, okay. So basically we're adding from the market until 1, 2, 3, 4, until one has more than the other. Right now, green and blue have 5. Yellow has 4, and actually yellow and red both have 4, so we basically are adding cards until we break the tie. So we find a green, which breaks the tie. So we summon the green demon, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Come on. For each blue card in the ritual, stun the highest guard champion among all players. So, actually I would have 5 blue there, so I just lose all my champions, which is very annoying, but no help for it. Starting with the active player and moving clockwise around the table, each player discards a random card until the group has discarded cards equal to the number of green cards in the ritual. Oh, fantastic. So, yeah, because green was the one that had the tie and we had 6 cards in there. Guess what? I have no hand. Red. Each player loses health equal to twice the number of red cards in the ritual. We had 4 in there, so I lose 8. So I go down to 39. Math is hard today. The demon gains starting health equal to 3 times the number of yellow cards in the ritual. And we had 4 cards in there, so I'll use a D20 to make a note that the demon... Oh, come on. How did you get stuck in there? There we go. Sorry if I seem like I'm a little moody. This scenario is not going well. So 12 health to start with. Oh, wrong book. Shuffle the ritual cards back into the market deck. Then shuffle the master's discard pile and any mastery cards that were attached into the master's deck. So these all go back into the market deck. Yeah, getting those two Roanos chanters out early really sucked. The fact that and having that stone golem come out turn 1 was just as annoying. Let's see, green had the most cards in the ritual, so we go to chapter 13. Ingarash the Insatiable. As the roar echoes through the chamber, the demon's huge form appears 20 feet above the brazier. Now fully in this dimension, the demon falls, crushing the dais and several followers beneath its massive body. The floor shudders and you almost lose your footing. The demon grabs the nearest follower, shoves it into its gaping mouth, and chomps down with 100 slicing teeth. You watch in horror as again and again it scoops up followers and hurls them down its gullet. Setup. The master for this part of the encounter is Ingarash the Insatiable. Replace the oversized Roanos Archpriestess card with the oversized Ingarash the Insatiable card. Place the side that has a 1 in the level icon in the upper left-hand corner face up. Okay, so let me go find that card. Do Ingarash the Insatiable. Here we go. That was easy. Okay. Once I finish setup, we'll take a look at the card before I start it. After I finish setup, you will continue to use the same master deck you were using with the Roanos Archpriestess. We got to shuffle all of this in. Oh joy. This is going to be very obnoxious. Giving that a quick shuffle. And a cut. The master starts with 80 health plus any bonus from the yellow cards in chapter 11. So 80... Right. Actually, let's take a look at Ingarash. Let's finish up these special rules, then we'll take a look at Ingarash. So special rules. When Ingarash gobbles up a card, Remove that card from the game and place it in a special gobbled up pile face down next to the master. Then before the fight starts, Ingarash gobbles up the market, then replace those cards. If all players are defeated, you may try again, go back to Chapter 7, and we'd probably loop back to that next week, but I'm getting ahead of myself there. If we defeat him, go to Chapter 16. So he starts off with... So let's take a look at Ingarash. Starting health of 80, plus 12 for the... plus 12 is 92? You've got to be kidding me. Blue card, gobble up your highest guard champion. Then green, which is favored, gobble up the top card of the market deck, gain combat equal to the total number of gobbled up cards. Red, gobble up the highest cost action in your hand, and gobble up the highest cost card in your discard pile on yellow. That's at level 1. So that's going to be a starting health of 92. Oh boy. Right. And I've still got the Chanters in place, so I wonder what happens when... I wonder what happens with the Chanters when an effect tells you to move it to the ritual, except there isn't a ritual. Flips a... Oh no, when the Master flips a red card, so we should have taken at least 5 more damage. I feel like I should have taken... I'm just gonna take 5 more damage. Because I actually misread that. I actually misread that fire pentagram. That should have been when they flip a red card, not a Roanos. So that's the red in the upper left corner where I would take that. But yeah, I think this scenario is just going... This scenario is actually, I would say, not too far from unwinnable at this point. But I'm getting ahead of myself there. So, yeah, I'm going to have to look up what happens with the... With the Chanters when they tells you to add... Oh, never mind. If the Roanos Archpriestess is the master... Never mind, it's on the card. Duh. Read the card, Phoenix Knight. If the Roanos Archpriestess is the master, add the top card of the market deck to the ritual, otherwise... Gain 4 combat. This scenario is going to end very quickly. Right, so that was during the master phase. I'm very rambly at this point, but this isn't going to take too long, so we'll expend everything. The Vexing Imp would expend as well, even though I have no hand at this point. Oh, and before the fight starts, he gobbles up all of these cards. And then we replace 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll do this, and then we'll go through each card individually before I take my 8 damage. Which is basically, it's actually just a 316 damage? Yeah, right! So this is probably just mere formality at this point, but first up is Peril the Enforcer for 5 gold, expend for 3 combat, and as a guild ally ability, draw a card. Then... we have Borg Ogre Mercenary for 6 gold, expend for 4 combat, guard of 6. Parav is a guard of 5, by the way. Another guild is Borg. Then we have another Krythos for 7. Actually, Krythos is back for 7 gold, as we saw him earlier. Next up, Hit Job for 4 gold. Action is gain 7 combat and an ally ability stun target champion. And a Spark for 1, 3 combat, target opponent discards a card, and a wild ally ability for 2 combat. So I would discard a random card, except I have nothing in my hand right now. And then I get hit for 8, which brings me down to 26. So 26 there. Then everything prepares. We'll breeze through this will be the start of round 7, I think, but we're just going to breeze through it because I have no hand right now. So I have nothing to do, which means I will just draw right back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to get ripped apart here before too long, I'm pretty sure, but we actually have some decent stuff here. So we'll keep this going for a little bit, but I don't expect this scenario is going to last much longer. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself there. So we move up to Ingarash now. We should be able to put it there. And then he will draw. He'll reveal a mastery card in yellow. So gobble up the highest cost card in my discard pile, which is Darien for 4. So that's unfortunate. Okay, then everything expends. He discards a random card from my hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I got everything in shot there. Not quite. We'll do that. Bring the mastery. Yeah, we can do this. So as usual, we'll grab the laser pointer. 1 through 5, 6 is a reroll. That's a 5. It rolled off shot, but there it is. We lose the life drain, of course. And then we lose 8, going down to 18. Right. Yeah, this just is not going well at all. But anyway, we'll see if we can maybe turn this around, but I'm not betting on it. Anyway, we'll start off with the Arcane Wand, which will draw a card. And we find a Taxation, which gives me 2 gold. Ally ability with the Imperial. I would gain 6 life, but except I don't have 6 life. I have another gold, so I'm actually going to gain 3 combat from the Arcane Wand, which is 8, which will actually take out... It's way too little, way too late, but it'll take out the Vexing Imp, who's been ripping my hand apart all game. And then for, what is that, 8 combat? Or for 8 gold. Actually, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we'll actually hit the boss for 1. But, yeah, this just went nowhere fast. So I think we will... Ouch. I don't want to be dealing myself more damage when I'm already taking a guaranteed 8 per turn. So, yeah, I think what we do here is... how many cards do I have left in my deck right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right. So, yeah, like I said, I really don't want to use Channel when I'm already taking 8 per turn. I think we just work on putting a wall up? That actually might not be a terrible idea. Like I said, I've got a total of 8 trade. Unfortunately, I don't have an ally ability for Taxation, which would be very helpful. But I do get to put the next action on top of my deck because of Bribe. So I will put a... what do I put on top here? I think my only play here is to put a Spark on top for 1. Then we draw, and then we replace that with an Elven Curse, 3 gold to acquire, which I probably will. 6 combat, and target opponent discards a card. And ally ability for 3. I will grab that for another 3, which means I have 4 left. So this next card, Taxation, which we used earlier. I'll grab the hit job for 4, and that'll clean me out. So next up we find a Death Touch for 1. Gives you 2 combat. You may sacrifice a card in your hand or discard pile. And another Roanos ability, ally ability, gives you 2 combat. So we'll draw back up. Draw the Spark. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we've got some... We are just not getting anywhere here. Anyway, up to Ingarash's turn, we find a blue card, which gobbles up my highest champion, except joke's on him because I don't have one right now. But that is a second mastery, so he's going to be leveling up very quickly, as if we need more problems. He'll hit us for another 8, and that'll bring me down to 10. And then that will do it for Ingarash. Everything will prepare, and we'll move back into what I think will be the last round of the scenario. In all honesty, that Vexing Imp has pretty much killed my chances of being able to finish this, of being able to win this scenario. So, we'll go for 2 combat, or 2 gold, 3, and the next action I acquire this turn costs 1 less. Fire Staff, which would give me action, which would give me a card if I had 2 or more actions. Then a Spark for another combat, which lets target opponent discard a card. The way it actually works here is you look at the top card of the deck, and you can either leave it or discard it. So I find a Mastery in green, which would gobble up the top card of the market deck, and then gain combat equal to the number of gobbled up cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus 1 is 7. Something dropped. Fucking hell. Where did the lid land for this? Oh, no wonder I can't find it. Right. I'm going to have to cut that. Okay, sorry about the jump cut there. I had something drop in the kitchen, but anyway. So the top card is a 3rd Mastery in green. That would give him a combat of 7. Which would bring him to a total of 1, which would bring me to 1. Actually, no, that actually would just kill me on the spot. So I have to discard that. But anyway, 4 combat will hit the boss for 4, bringing him down to 88. Yeah, no, 87. Once again, I can't do first grade math today. Right, and then 4 gold will give me, I mean, there's a pretty good chance I'm just dead here anyway, but I will get a Death Touch for 1. I actually, for free, I still have 3 left. So we find an Orc Grunt for 3, which I can expend for 2 combat, and an ally ability for the Wild to draw a card. So that'll be a cost of a guard of 3. I'll actually go ahead and grab that, even though I think the scenario is just over at this point. So we find a Tithe Priest, 2 gold to acquire. Expend to either gain 1 gold or 1 health for each champion in play. And we'll move all that to the discard pile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, the odds I'm getting anywhere with this are between slim and none, basically. But anyway, we'll move up to Ingarash. And let's see what we flip over. So we find Mastery with a preferred of green anyway. So when does he level up? Not that it really matters, but he's the corresponding effect. So he gobbles up the top card of the market deck, then gains combat equal to the number of gobbled up cards. So 1, 2, yeah, I'm just dead here anyway. 1, 2, 6, 7. So he gobbles a card anyway. He would level up at this point. I'm not going to bother going through level 2 because the scenario is just... And actually there's no change on... Looking at him, there's no change on his abilities anyway, which thankfully, but... Anyway, so yeah, champions expend for combat. So he has a total of 16 combat, which is enough to take me down to -6, and I lose. So that is the first scenario. Scenario 3, 419. Alright, so that is the end of the scenario, so let's move back up top and wrap this video up. I got very well run over in that scenario, so that is my first loss in this campaign. Next time I step back into this background campaign, I'll be still on scenario 3. But if I lose it again, then I'm going to wrap the background campaign at that point. So we'll reset back to scenario 3 next time I step back into this background campaign. But that won't be next week. Next week we'll take our first foray into the wizarding world of Harry Potter as we play Harry Potter, Death Eaters Rising. Thank you for watching this video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.